Hey, everybody, Cinephile Mike is here, and it is day 95 of Award Season Review Season 3. 97 reviews coming at you in 97 days, covering many of the films up for awards recognition this season. Now, these last few films I'm talking about are either still in theaters or they are streaming. So, all the statistical information that I'm providing to you, predictions, nods, wins, box office, critical response, everything is current within 7 days of posting. And as always, these reviews are spoiler free. Also, make sure you check out my website, cinephilemike.com, for lots of great award season content, as well as all of the reviews I have been doing this whole season on the YouTube channel here, as well as my short videos with my Oscar predictions. So, we are in our last theme for this season, and it is our 14th, and it's the rest of the best. Now, as I have said the last couple of nights, as I get to the last week, I always like to make sure I save one group of films that is all nominated for at least one Oscar as we lead into that big night. So, if you were wondering where those last few nominated films were, like Nickel Boys, well, here we go. That's what we're looking at today. Amazon MGM Studios' film that was written by RaMell Ross and Jocelyn Barnes and directed by Ross. The film is based on the novel The Nickel Boys, written by Colson Whitehead. Released in mid December of 2024, the film so far has made $2,668,191 at the domestic box office and an additional $158,034 at the international box office for a worldwide total of $2,826,225. Critically, the film is fresh on both sides, but higher with the critics, where the film, from 191 reviews, has a score of 91%, while over 250 audience ratings have the film sitting with a popcorn meter of 75%. Award season wise, the film is currently nominated for 2 Oscars. Ross and Barnes are nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, and the film is nominated for Best Picture of the Year. The film has won 49 varied prizes from over 200 nominations. Some of the highlights include Ross winning Best Director and Performer, Brendan Wilson winning Breakthrough Performance. Both of these were at the Gotham Awards, which also nominated the film for Best Picture. Jomo Frey won Best Cinematography at the Independent Spirit Awards, where they also nominated the film Best Feature. It was named a Movie of the Year by both the AFC and the National Society of Film Critics, which also those critics awarded Frey for their cinematography. The film was a Golden Globe nominee for Best Picture Drama, a 5-time Critics' Choice nominee for Best Picture, Adapted Screenplay, Director, Cinematography, and Best Supporting Actress for Ingenue Ellis Taylor, and an Adapted Screenplay nominee at the BAFTAs. So, what is this one about? Well, here we go. Set in the Jim Crow era, 1960s, in Tallahassee, Florida, we have African American student Elwood Curtis, played by Ethan Harris, who is so gifted academically, he has a chance while still in high school to attend a tuition free program at a historically black college and university. En route to get to the school, he hitchhikes to get a little faster. He's picked up by a nicely dressed, smooth talking black man who offers him a ride. Shortly after, on the way, they are pulled over by the police. We learn that the car was stolen, and thinking that Elwood was an accomplice of this man, Elwood is arrested along with the driver, and as he is underage, he is sent to Nickel Academy, a segregated, although not to the innocent onlookers, reform school. Here at the school, all the boys are forced into work, but the black students have less accommodations. They are mistreated by the staff, and they are not as properly educated as their white counterparts on the other side of the school. The boys do their labor, but this is not the life that Elwood wanted. Eventually, he meets and befriends another fellow student, Turner, played by Brandon Wilson. Elwood and Turner, through this friendship, help one another deal with the less than ideal circumstances. Now, based on what is implied, we can infer that in addition to the mistreatment, in the working conditions these boys are in, they also suffered other types of abuse, all of which Elwood has been keeping in a journal. He has a plan. And this is to say nothing of some of the rather rash actions taken by their racist white superintendent Spencer, played by Hamish Linklater. Now, while Elwood and Turner get by, we see that there's a little bit of frustration between them as far as their beliefs. See, Elwood is inspired by the ideas and the nonviolent protests and wants to speak up with the civil rights movement. Turner, a little more fearful, tries to bring Elwood down a few pegs. That is something that Elwood is not great at, which unfortunately is going to lead to some rather dire circumstances. Now, ultimately, when certain actions are taken to address what is happening at Nickel Academy, the consequences will have life changing effects for many of our characters. Look, on paper, this film has everything to make it an incredible film and tell a story about a darker chapter in American history. So I was excited for that. The script, it's decent. The performers are all strong. Also, there are two supporting performances that I neglected to reference in the summary. One being Anjanou Ellis Taylor as Elwood's grandmother Hattie, and Fred Etchinger as Spencer, a nickel employee who oversees the convict labor program at the school. Quick side note, Thelma, Craven the Hunter, Gladiator 2, Nickel Boys. Quite the year for Etchinger. Both characters, for reasons I won't, for want of spoilers, I'm not going to go too much those two, but they will both break your heart in one moment and you sympathize with them, and then at another moment, not so much. Now, the production design and the costumes and the art direction are all on point. You know, for me, the main thing that was really jarring for me and made me unable to enjoy the film, ironically, is one of the elements that was lauded, which was the cinematography. Frey, who has been frequently nominated and won several awards for this, selected to shoot the film. I mean, obviously, working with the director, they shot it from a first person point of view. So, whenever someone is talking, we don't see the other character. Often we're only looking at one individual in the frame. And while this is a unique approach, it makes the seeing the chemistry between the characters not really there because you don't see discussion and response in real time. And while Harissa and Turner have a few touching moments thanks to the way it's shot, I mean, you can see one from the poster, the jolting cinematography jerks you in and out of certain moments as you're trying to watch the film. Recently, not to compare, but Steven Soderbergh in his recent film Presence did a similar first person POV cinematography, and that worked, where this one, for me, it didn't. I mean, yes, these two films are very different. I'm not telling you to compare, Presence and Nickel Boys, but based on the cinematography, the way it was shot, Presence was a little less jolting for me. The film, like I said, it's an excellent story. It has all the parts that we need. The film runs over 2 hours, about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Some of the content is a little repetitive, so this could have had a few more edits along the way as far as the script goes, but I don't want to diminish what an important story this was. If anything, I wish that cinematography was slightly different to really get the point across instead of making me do this, feeling like I was doing this. So, let's talk about those two categories. Will Nickel Boys win either of the two Oscars it's nominated for? Most likely, no. Look, the work is fair and decent, but in the categories that it's nominated in, there are far stronger contenders. The adapted screenplay is most likely going to go to Conclave. Nickel Boys just doesn't have the clout to take the Best Picture prize this year. Nothing against the film per se, but to be honest, if we still only had 5 nominees, or it could be anywhere between 5 and 10, the way the votes go, I'm not even sure Nickel Boys would have made that final cut. Many, and myself included, feel if we're looking at these, there were a few other films that have been nominated in other categories that deserve to be in the Best Picture race a little bit more. Some would have argued The Last Showgirl, some argued Sing Sing. So, you know, it is what it is. So there we go. All right. It's really weird. We're in the rest of the best. That's the name of this week. But ironically, several of the films I've been talking about this week are not that strong. And you probably already saw the rating. Again, Nickel Boys, for me, a 3-star film. A good film, not great, not outstanding, jolting cinematography. But look, uh, these films are nominated for a reason. Maybe you are going to see the joy of that. If you haven't seen Nickel Boys yet and you are trying to catch it before Sunday, you have a couple of options. One, it is still playing in theaters. It is streaming for free if you have, well, not free, if you have an MGM Plus subscription, or it is now available for premium digital rental or purchase on most other platforms. Okay, 95 down and only 2 left. Can you believe it? As always, if you like what you heard here, please click that subscribe button, like the video, spread the word. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. And again, find lots of great additional content here on the YouTube channel and on my website, cinephilemike.com. All right, tomorrow's our penultimate day. So close. But until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.